Well, I'm really pleased to be talking to my friend Terry Heesel. Now, Terry is, do you call it a Minneapolis?
Minneapolitan.
Minneapolitan. Um, and I've been to Minneapolis and I've seen Terry there. Minneapolis, I have to say, is a fantastic place. It's one of my favorite parts of America. A bit cold, but the people are just open and friendly and intelligent. And I love it there. And I first met Terry when we were at it was a Christian literature event in Atlanta. We were
So,
sharing the shuttle coach together and we got to know each other really well.
yeah, it was a
And I've just
publishing event, wasn't it? A Christian
That's
publishing.
right.
I,
Yeah, yeah.
I must
So
have.
hi, Terry. Yeah.
We must have had a. We must have each had a book coming out or something.
Your book was already out, yeah, and which is
Okay.
brilliant. And I have to say you were way ahead of the game with that surprised me. There's a
Oh,
lot of stuff, about Christian mindfulness, and I think actually Terry started saying this years ago about being in the moment. So, so you
I've
were,
been causing trouble for as long as I can.
yeah, yeah. And yeah, so yeah, how's things going there in Minneapolis? Because we've been really concerned for you. It was big on the news last night in Minneapolis, and I thought it'd just be great if I could do a little interview with you, and we could just put it out there for anyone who wants to know how ordinary people. Well, you're not ordinary. You're quite well known. By the way, I was at a gig, and there was a wonderful singer called Humbird from Minneapolis, and I
Oh,
said to her after, I said, "Do you know the local celebrity, Terry Esau?" And she said, "No,
she
I
said,
don't, but I'll find out."
"I'm trying Humbird."
Humbird, yeah, yeah.
I
You,
don't. I don't. I don't even know who that is. I'll have to check
you'd
it
like
out.
her. Yeah, she's really good, actually. Yeah, she sang a lot and said a lot about what was going on there.
Well,
Yeah.
there
So,
is a lot.
yeah,
There's a
yeah.
lot going on here.
So, can you tell us from your perspective what's going on and how we can pray for you?
Well, you know, our wonderful orange president decided to send almost 3,000 ICE agents, Immigration and Customs agency. So they're all here in their full military garb and their weapons and their pepper spray, and they're just rounding up people, and I know they disagree with me on this, but I think it's kind of random. Um, I've seen them out and about, and a couple weeks ago they shot and killed a woman in her van, or in their car. I assume that's what you guys probably saw over there. Um, but
And there were more reports on Sunday of like they just some footage of ICE agents and confrontations with people and people
yeah,
being wrestled to the ground.
yeah, and I mean, last night they pulled this old man out of a house. He was in his underwear and just had a blanket wrapped around him. And it was like, 5 degrees below zero here.
Mm.
And by the way, that's Fahrenheit. So so that's cold,
Mm.
and they're marching this guy out and putting him in their SUV, taking him away, and it's like, I don't know. It seems like there's no dignity, of people anymore. They just, well, I just wrote this song called Disposable,
Mm.
and I think that's kind of how ICE and maybe President Trump are looking at these people. They're just disposable.
Mm.
Let's send them back where they came from. And sadly, a lot of the people, they were born here. They're citizens. Or they're legally here. They're in process. A lot of them are in process. I just saw Christy Nome, our what do they call her? Gestapo Barbie. um, she was saying, well, 70% of the people we're apprehending are criminals, and the woman interviewing her on national television said, well, it's 46%, and and most of those are maybe a traffic ticket or a parking ticket or whatever. And Christy goes, no, it's 70%. And the interviewer goes, actually, it's your agency. I took these numbers off your agency. Your agency says it's 46%. And she goes, well, then our agency is wrong. It's like, so, truth has become very uh, malleable and pliable these days here in the US. It's like, they a lot of them talk about fake news, but I think they're the purveyors of most of the fake news.
Now I know 'cause we've heard kind of some noises from certain well-known evangelists saying, Romans 13, we must support what's going on. What's your take as a Christian in Minneapolis and with the churches that you're involved in there?
Well, there's a lot of ways you can read Romans 13. Um, and a lot of times they stop and they don't read on in that chapter. But um, I, I don't know, Simon. You know, the if we as Christians can't see every human being as somebody made in the image of God, and that if we don't see them that way, then we think we have the right to treat them differently. And I don't see anything in the words of Jesus that allow us to look at humans as, it's like Trump called all the Somalis garbage,
Mm,
you know, and then he shows up and holds a Bible up. You
mm,
know, you can't do both those things. You know,
mm,
you can't call when they asked Jesus, "What's the greatest commandment?" Well, love God and love your neighbor. And he did have a whole parable about, well, who is my neighbor? You know, There- I'm assuming a lot of the people who follow you, they have some Bible knowledge and stuff. So we have to just start seeing people as our neighbor. And what really, really bothers me is a lot of the Christian evangelicals who seem to think it's okay to to see people as less than human, less than valuable, maybe less than made in the image of God. And that's just, I don't know. I don't see that in the words of Jesus anywhere. So I think you're misinterpreting the Messiah if you're going to be looking at any human or any group of humans as garbage. It's unacceptable.
And so, are there churches in the Twin Cities that are, and the state that are taking a different view and doing something to honor Jesus in all of this?
Well, I'll be honest, here in the Twin Cities, I mean, we refer to Minneapolis and St. Paul
Mm,
as the Twin Cities here. Um, I don't see a lot of churches supporting what Trump is doing, and I don't see a lot of churches supporting ICE.
mm,
I'm sure there are some, and sadly, I think probably there are a lot of churches who are just staying silent.
mm,
You know, in my in my song "Disposable," in the chorus, it says, "Silence has fingerprints, and comfort has cost."
mm,
And I think, you know, I think this is like our Bonhoeffer moment.
mm,
This is where we in America need to step up, speak
mm,
up, get up, stand up.
mm,
Um, and I think if we don't, there's going to be a time where history is going to tell a really ugly story.
mm,
So, but yeah, I don't see very many churches here supporting. I think if you get farther out state and outside of the city, because we're a blue city,
mm,
which is part of the reason I think Trump has all these ICE agents here, is because, we're a blue city and he wants to make an example out of us. They could go to Florida and Texas, which have way, way more immigrants who are undocumented than we do here. We have, I think the number was like 130,000 here, and in Florida and Texas, they've got over 2 million in each of those states. So he could be going there if he really wanted this to be about immigration reform or deporting, but he's chosen this because we're a blue city and a blue state. Um, that's my opinion, anyhow.
I'm really interested in what you said about a Bonhoeffer moment. I mean, some people listening, and they've probably heard the name Bonhoeffer, but it'd be great if you could fill us in on that because that resonated with me when I saw you wrote that on social media recently.
Yeah, I mean, I probably should be careful, but what the heck? I'm past being careful. Um, I mean, Bonhoeffer in Germany, he was trying to go after Hitler, and a lot of the Christian churches at the time were just staying silent there, and I have a hard time believing they were all thinking this is the greatest thing ever. I
Mm,
think I think they were probably uncomfortable, but they were afraid to speak up.
mm,
Um, and he put his life on the line
mm,
by saying what he thought was true. And I think saying what, according to his view of Jesus and the words of Jesus and the message of Jesus, he couldn't justify staying silent because silence has fingerprints. So I think in America, it, I think a lot of people think I'm exaggerating when I say that, but I think this is our Bonhoeffer moment
mm,
where we're going to be judged for being silent.
mm. So, in what ways are you using that Bonhoeffer moment, you and the Christians in Minneapolis and other places that you're linked up with?
Yeah. Uh, my career was in the music business. So I don't know about you, but I've never made a lot of money with my book publishing.
No, not me. I bought
I,
a copy of your book. No, I think you gave it to me actually. Yeah, but it was great.
uh,
Buy Terry's books, everyone. Yeah, they're
yeah.
great.
Well, I got 3 books published. I have a fourth one that is in process, whatever. But I never made a lot of money off of that. So my money has always came through my career writing and producing music for TV commercials and stuff like
Mm,
that. So I've done commercials for McDonald's and Pepsi and Target and hundreds and hundreds of others. Um, but at some point, I go, okay, if one of my skills is creating music, creating art through music, then I think I it's incumbent upon me to use those skills and write some songs that are protest songs. Here in the US, Bob Dylan, way back in the 60s, wrote a song called Blowin' in the Wind. And that was a protest song that impacted our culture and it made people wake up. And that's what I think the arts can do.
mm,
So I almost feel like right now all the artists in America and for the world and the world for that matter need to start speaking up and using their art. And typically art doesn't tell you what to think. It asks you questions and makes you think.
mm,
You know, and like my line, silence has fingerprints. You know, that's not that's not necessarily even telling you what to do, but it's hopefully helping people go, okay,
mm.
okay, even silence has consequences and it leaves a mark. So so actually it's weird. I just this morning bought a domain name called songsfortheresistance.org.
Right, that sounds good.
And and I sent out a thing to a bunch of local musicians here. I'll have to send
Mm.
one to what was her name? Humbird? No.
Humbird, yeah, yeah. Mm,
I'll have to track her down. So I
mm,
asked them, I said, would you be willing to write a protest song?
mm,
And then, I don't know if I have to figure out if I'm going to, try to release an album called Songs for the Resistance. We'll have a website. My vision is this could be a thing and invite people to just make donations, and the donations would go to, you know, to to help the
mm,
refugees and the immigrants and put food on their table, help pay for rent. Because a lot of these people, they're afraid to go out of their
mm,
houses or their apartments right now because
mm,
there are these people in unmarked SUVs roaming the streets looking for people.
mm,
So yeah, so I think that's our Bonhoeffer. That's my way to be Bonhoeffer in this moment.
mm.
To write. I have another song that I haven't released yet. It's called uh, "The Wrong Side of Right,"
Mm,
and I think there are a lot of people who are dancing around on the wrong side of right. It's
mm,
like, okay, I'm right here, but it's it's dangerously close to the wrong side of right.
mm.
So it's kind of a blues, a Delta blues kind of feel and stuff. So yeah, I don't know. I'm hoping that with the arts, we encourage other artists and to get involved, and that art, whether it's visual or music or theater or whatever, let's write, let's create things that make people think and question.
But when I found because when I saw Humbird, and I booked it just because I liked her music, and I didn't realize she was from the Twin Cities, and her songs were really powerful, and she'd really got the audience on board and concerned. At the end of it, they felt like they were, yeah, it was their problem too. It was their issue as well.
Ah,
So yeah, so yeah,
I just,
check
I
her out.
just, I just heard another song by a local artist, Jennifer Grimm.
Mm,
I think it's called "For the Record."
mm,
You should check it out.
yeah,
Um, I know some of the musicians who play in her band and sing, um, and it's a pretty powerful song.
mm,
So I I think because I sent the thing out and I've already heard back from four of the local musicians, and these are people who have a following here in Minneapolis, and they all go, I'm in. You know, one of them said, I've got the song, I'm done. So
So would you be able to do sort of put it out on Bandcamp or something so people in the UK can be part of this as well, like can contribute, like to get the material and.
well, that's part of my vision is, and I just had this idea.
Mm,
So I called an entertainment attorney down in Nashville and I said, "What do you think of
mm,
this?" And he goes, "I think it's a good idea." So if what I'm thinking is I put this, create this website and invite people around the world. Hey,
mm,
write a protest song and post
mm,
it, and yeah, it would hopefully it will go through Bandcamp or DistroKid or one of those
mm,
things, so it'll be shared on, hopefully
mm,
shared to all the streaming
mm,
platforms.
mm,
I don't know.
mm.
You're in the very early stages of
Yeah.
just what I'm
Well,
thinking about doing here. So
and anyone watching, yeah, keep this video because when it's big, you'll know it happened. Because there was I don't know if you've heard of is it Spencer LaJoy or Spencer LaHoy, but she's American artist, but the Plowshare Prayer. And that was used widely across the UK actually when there was racial unrest there. But it's a beautiful song,
huh,
um, and she has a kind of a she said she wouldn't identify as a Christian, but there's definitely a Christian influence, and she's
yeah,
it's about the swords becoming plowshares. But
yeah,
it's a really powerful, beautiful song
that's,
that spoke into the situation here a few years ago. Um,
yeah.
yeah.
I saw you said don't know if she's a Christian. I saw a meme the other day that said um, the atheists are teaching us how to act like Jesus.
Mm, yeah. Mm,
You know, it's
mm.
that makes,
Mm,
I mean, it's beautiful. It's like, it's like they understand there's a morality
mm,
that is at the core,
mm,
and yet there are some Christians who seem to be sidestepping
mm,
what even atheists
mm,
see as as core human dignity. It's like
mm,
that's a that's a bit of a slap in the face, isn't it?
mm, mm. Well, it's been really fantastic talking to you, Terry, and I hope people, friends who are watching this on my YouTube channel are going to realise that because as someone who's a Jesus follower, I sometimes look at some of these people who go public and I feel ashamed at the kind of things they're saying, and I just wanted to get you out there for people to say, we're not all like that. Some of us kind of think about what would Jesus do and what the ethics that Jesus gives us, and it's fantastic to see that
Yeah.
there's you and thousands of others as well like you. So,
Yeah, there are a lot of us here. You know, the
mm,
media isn't covering all of it.
mm,
Um,
mm,
but yeah, you all of you in the UK pray for us, okay?
yeah,
America,
yeah.
your delinquent child needs help.
We're not doing so brilliantly here, is what I like to say.
Well, we'll pray for you, but right now, I'm worried. I'm really worried about us. Uh,
Mm,
you know,
yeah.
we have 3 years left
Mm,
with
mm,
Mr. Trump.
yeah,
So how we're going to survive
yeah,
those 3 years, I'm a little concerned.
yeah, yeah. But maybe, I mean, maybe this will be the emergence of something new, with people like you speaking out, and I've been really harmed by some of the voices I've heard. Some of the voices have really depressed me, particularly a certain well-known evangelist son. But some of like, when I read your stuff and I've listened to your songs, and that article you wrote during the election, Jesus attending a Trump rally, that was fantastic. I mean, that was a masterpiece, and I've posted that several times. A
Oh,
lot of my
thank
friends
you.
who aren't Christians like it.
Yeah. Well, I wrote another one. It was called "The Star Spangled Gospel,"
Yeah.
which
Oh,
is kind of,
that's good, isn't it? Yeah.
and that one got published in the
Yeah.
Minneapolis Star Tribune, which is
Yeah.
the biggest newspaper here.
Mm.
And what's weird is I got more hate mail after that, you know, and it's like, how is it that true Christians think that the synchronization of church and state, when America was founded on a separation of church and state, you know, in a belief in
Mm.
pluralism, and now that there's a big chunk of the church that wants to put that together,
Mm.
and as I always say, it's like when you put Christian and nationalism together, I don't think it's Christian or nationalism anymore.
Mm.
It becomes neither. It becomes this weird authoritarian
Mm.
dangerous thing
Mm.
that that wraps itself in a an American, you know, it's like Jesus wrapping himself in American flag, and it's like
Yeah.
I don't think so. He didn't do that in Rome.
I know we're told in Christ there is no Greek, Jew, slave, free man. Christ is all in all.
Right.
Yeah. Mm.
Yeah. So
Yeah. Yeah.
hopefully I hope you're right, Simon. I hope that this is I hope I hope that before it goes too much further south, there's a reawakening in the
Mm.
American church
Mm.
that says this isn't this is not the gospel. This is not the message of Jesus.
Mm.
And we come to our senses. I hope.
That sounds like a really great point to end, Terry, and that's powerful. So, yeah, thanks. Keep on doing what you're doing.
All right.
Yeah.
It's very good to see you, my friend.
Yeah. Likewise.
And if it gets worse, I might come visit you.
All right. Oh, you're welcome.
Do,
I
do
was
you
gonna,
have?
I was gonna be coming to America, but actually, I decided not to.
Yeah. Well, I was
Yeah.
going to stay in America, but I'm kind of deciding not to. I don't know.
Yeah.
I bet I better not. I better stop.
Yeah. Do you want to put the record? And then we can carry on talking.
Okay.